This is Marley K. Hope everybody is well. I got a story that I want to do for you this morning, but the reason that I want to do this story because it kind of coincides with the story or the video that I did the other day about the car, the brakes from the vehicles causing particles to get into the atmosphere, got something to do with carbon emissions, and then they want to take cars from low income people. So, like, I don't know how the electric vehicle is going to fare any better because they're going to have to stop too. But I just had this vision about the fact that they're going to phase out fossil fuels and have everybody get these electric vehicles. They're going to be building a bunch of these things over the next couple of years. It's already law. The law has been signed, so gas vehicles are going away. And what's going to happen is car insurance is going to be so expensive that if you have an older car, you're not going to be able to afford it or you're not going to want to drive. This is the part that I had a vision about. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's true. You can eat the meat, spit out the bones. But I personally believe that all this stuff leading up to April the 8th and maybe what's going to happen beyond this year is that we're going to have some type of grid down, EMP strike, or something where and these cars that are not going to work because everybody's got a car with sensors and computers, a computerized dashboard. You got to take it to the dealership to work on it, et cetera, et cetera. Which is why when there's an EMP strike, your car is going to instantly stop working. So if you have a car that was made prior to the um, 1985, your car probably is going to work. But if your car has any type of computerized gadgets, it's just like not a simple old plain manual car, it is going to not work. So you're going to have a nation of survivors. Whoever survives, they're not going to be able to get around. And by the time I guess they get everything cleaned up, we've yeeted each other off, um, die from plagues, whatever else they have planned for us. You will have to buy an electric car because that's all that will be available. So if you want a car, you're going to have to get the type of car that is available. And then when you get that car, you won't buy that car. You will lease that car. You will rent that car. So you will never own anything. You will never own a car. You'll just be responsible for maintaining it like it's yours. You'll rent it. And, if you're not good, they'll take it away. If you try to get another one, you won't be able to. You won't be able to keep it. When they get ready to shut it down, you won't be able to move. So the fact that this story came out around the same time just kind of confirmed some of the things that I was thinking. So it says Biden administration is set to finalize major gas crackdown over warnings from automakers, energy industry. So it says this is bad policy for consumers, the economy, and national security, industry group tells Fox News Digital. Now, I hate getting stories from Fox because they always have these pop-ups and these people just don't be quiet. And there's no way to make these folks shut up. Okay. So it says the Biden administration is expected this week to finalize highly anticipated regulations targeting gas powered vehicle tailpipe emissions, considered the tip of the spear. This is just the beginning. In its efforts to electrify the transportation sector, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is slated to issue the final rulemaking. So this is a rule by a government agency, which means it does not have to be voted on. So it says, which officials have boasted will incentivize greater adoption of electric vehicles. So this is how you're going to be forced to use the electric vehicles, because they're going to do it through rules, through the EPA, and not always through legislation. So you got to remember, the beast infrastructure will work through a lot of different entities and institutions and governments and nonprofit organizations to implement their plans. And you're hearing about these things, but you're not really connecting what is coming. So, um, again, I encourage you to really work hard to try to be a minimalist, like get back to the basics of having very little, because this new system that's coming is a different form of slavery, but it's still an enslavement. So we just got to always keep that in mind. So it says, but which opponents have criticized as a de facto mandate as soon as Wednesday, industry sources told Fox News Digital. The regulations, a key part of President Biden's climate agenda, would ultimately force automakers to rapidly expand electric options in their fleets beginning in a matter of years. Now, they want you to expand fleets, but people are not wanting electric cars because people are starting to wake up and figure out, wait a minute, the maintenance is really expensive. This is not what they said it was. Some people buy a car and the repair costs more than a car, and then they just leave it. They walk away from it and abandon it. If you're not wealthy, you can't keep up with that crap. People watched Leave the World Behind, and they saw where the cars could be hacked and taken. They could be hacked and, take you someplace you don't want to go. They could be hacked, or with the artificial intelligence, they could just take over and decide, hey, I don't want you to do anything. I want to harm you and run you off the road. So there are a lot of things that are not attractive. Oh, and the refuel options, just finding a place to plug in, like there's not an infrastructure for it. So people are not really buying into this electric vehicle shenanigans. So they're selling something that people can't see because it's not there. So you can't see it. And they're saying, trust me, um, this we're at Trust Me University now. We're living in a time where everything is trust me, I got you, trust me. The people who graduate from Trust Me University, we ain't fooling with them. So you can't believe what you can't see. If you can't see it, can't touch it, can't taste it, you can't possess it, you leave it where it is. And so this is one of those things that people can see through. It's like, this don't make no sense. Now you say I'm gonna be saving the environment, but the car gonna be made out of metal. The battery still got to be dug out of the earth, So it's like it's trading one vice for another vice. That's all. So it says it certainly won't do anything to improve human health. It won't do anything to reduce pollution. American Energy Institute President CEO Jason Isaac, who has researched the EV market, told Fox News Digital in an interview, "We've proven in the country that we're already a world leader in clean air. All it's going to continue to do is push the cost of electric vehicles onto purchasers of internal combustion engine vehicles." So it says this is purely done for campaign reasons, to really appease to leftist large donor base that are the climate alarmists. And so, okay, now listen to this. The people on the left are the climate alarmists, but really both sides are, because everybody's doing the Hegelian dialectic. Um, they got to have chaos so they can bring in order. So there are no good guys. So we just always need to keep that in mind. They say left, right. It doesn't matter, because both of them are paid by the middle to get the outcome that they want. So it says that are driving the movement towards really what is forced energy transition. And that's how I feel. I feel like it's forced. you gotta get a smart meter on your house. Like, why? So they can read the meter automatically. So the guy who's riding around with the wand now, aiming it to get the meter reading wirelessly, eventually, dude ain't gonna have no job. And so instead of people being like, hey, wait a minute, they just keep doing this stuff. They just go along with it as long as they get paid, not realizing it's like you're in a frog in a pot of boiling water, except for it's boiling really slow. And you don't realize that you're cooking until you are dead. One day you just be dead. And that's how a lot of these people are who support these transitions without letting the people know. And you willfully work for the adversary. Like we just can't keep doing that. It's at this point just not even fruitful. So it says, um, which is just increasing the cost of everything. The transition is, and notice here they got the raccoon in his place doing harm to his people. Michael Reagan. Another area, and this area, I admit I even completely overlooked. I didn't know that they had a black guy over EPA. I don't even know if he's the first, but I can't remember a person being over EPA that was black. I just don't. And I'm not saying that it's not so, but they usually don't allow Negroes to have charge over land. You know what I'm saying? Like the environment. It's dealing with resources, water, land, air. They don't want us to have no power over that stuff. So something got to be coming down the pipe. Or it's getting ready to be utterly destroyed and there won't be nothing left. So won't no white man have that legacy on his hands. It'll be left in the hands of a raccoon, aka Israel. So maybe, because I don't know his background, he might be something else. But anyway, I'm gonna just say for right now, he one of ours. He's one of us. He's a raccoon, but he's an Israelite raccoon. Overall, under the proposal, which EPA unveiled in April 2023 and will go into effect in 2027, the White House projected that 67% of new sedan, crossover SUV, and light truck purchases would be electric by 2032. In addition, up to 50% of buses and garbage trucks, 35% of short haul freight tractor, and 25% of long haul freight tractors purchases could also be electric by then. You ain't gonna never get nothing if you got to wait on an electric truck to haul groceries from one part of the country to the next, and you gotta find a charging station. Do y'all know how stupid this is? This is so stupid. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's not going to work because nothing that they do ever works. They just exchange one scheme for another scheme. This ain't gonna work. People who know better can see this is not gonna work. But they're gonna keep trying. They're gonna keep trying. They're gonna throw everything they can to try to get people to buy into this. And there are a few idiots who think it's cool and they're trying it, but it's not going to work. Nothing that they do will work because this is just stupid. It is a way to get people enslaved. Again, you're going to be working to pay for stuff that you will never own, and you will be following an agenda that allows them to control you, because at the end of the day, these electric cars are going to be tied to the Internet of Things and Web 3.0, and you're not going to be able to go anyplace and do whatever you want to do. You're going to be imprisoned, and you're not going to be able to drive a long distance because those cars wasn't made for that. So I really don't know I just don't really, I don't understand any of it, but whatever. The White House and the proposal, which represents the most aggressive proposal of its kind ever proposed, would accelerate. Yeah, I'm telling y'all that word accelerate. They got to get this agenda going because people waking up. Accelerate the clean vehicle transition and reduce oil imports by 20 billion barrels. And they got to do that because the rest of the world is like, ooh, no, we leaving America behind. Now, the rest of the world ain't talking about this. They're only talking about doing this stuff in the European countries. Biden and climate activists have taken aim at the transportation sector over its high emissions profile. It alone produces roughly 29% of America's greenhouse gas emissions, federal data shows. Whatever. In January, EPA submitted its final regulation to the White House for review, and in recent weeks, the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, has hosted a flurry of meetings with energy industry officials, business leaders, automakers, and environmental activist groups, according to federal filings. So the other things like this is really going to harm local manufacturing companies and the small mom and pop businesses that feed them, because these businesses will either transition or close because what you need for one car you won't need for the other car. So there's going to be maybe a new industry of automakers coming up on the scene, but I doubt it seriously. I just think they want us on buses. And I do think that the industry will survive, but it's going to be drastically different. And because they're going to need fewer cars, because people, one, are not going to be able to afford the cars. Two, there are going to be a lot of people who don't want the burden. So they're going to use public transportation, which is why there's going to be an increase in these buses and other types of, communal transportation, so that you don't need a car. And if you do have a car, you're going to pay a heavy price for it, and you're going to be tracked like a dog. So there's that. So it says, and last month, the New York Times reported that the agency had endorsed its so-called alternative C approach, which would loosen the rule implementation between 2027 and 2030, the early years of the proposal, before there's that word again, ramping up in 2031 and 2032. Industry groups said such an approach would be just as damaging for consumers since the end result would remain unchanged. So they do all this transition for their businesses, which means they have to incur costs. Retrain the workforce, which means they have to incur cost, and then wait on us to buy into the idea or be forced into the idea or reality of having to buy these electric vehicles. We ain't buying it. We don't want it. Like we already understand what's happening. We watched the movie. So this is President Biden has been clear since 2020 that he intends to use his federal agencies and the state of California to eliminate sales of new gas cars. American Fuel and Petrochemical Manufacturers President and CEO Chet Thompson, whose group has advocated against EPA's tailpipe regulations, told Fox News Digital in a written statement. Quote, while multiple administration policies push us toward this end, the EPA's passenger vehicle standards will do most of the damage on their own, requiring listen to this, approximately 70% of new car sales to be electric in less than 8 years, Thompson said. This policy is bad for consumers, the economy, and national security. Okay. It will sacrifice our hard-won U.S. energy strength for even greater in greater. I'm sorry. It will sacrifice our hard-won U.S. energy strength for even greater dependence on China and the EV battery and minerals supply chain China controls. So now they say that China controls this battery and mineral supply because China has a foothold on the continent of Africa, and America does not. So this is very problematic. And, I don't necessarily have a dog in the fight about these nations fighting, but as far as the collateral damage, it's not good for anybody, not the consumers, not the people who are going to be on the continent digging this stuff out, um, being exploited. So it's just bad for us all around. But thankfully, we already know what the end is going to be. We just got to try to endure to the end. So it says he added that for consumers, EPA regulations will feel like a ban and vastly restrict both their access to and ability to afford new car, new gas cars, trucks, SUVs, and traditional hybrids. So they're going to make having a traditional car so um, cost ineffective that essentially you will buy a EV car if you want one and you feel like you really need one. So that's the goal. But I also think that they're going to do something to make your cars that you have now not work. So you're going to be forced into this situation. If you want your independence, what little bit of independence in this slave state you think you have, they're going to force you to get an EV car. And if you have a gas powered car, if you're not rich, you're going to spend so much of money trying to maintain it that it's just not going to be feasible or reasonable. So it says, according to, Thompson further warned the EPA doesn't include any off ramp in its proposal in the event that U.S. charging and power infrastructure isn't ready for such a rapid electrification of cars. So he's basically saying they don't care if they have enough places for you to charge your car. If your car is left on the side of the road because you couldn't make it to the charging station, oh well, shame on you. You shouldn't have got it. Should have used the bus. So anyway, it's gonna be so bad. I don't want to be here. I just want to hope y'all hurry up, come on, get us, cause I'm tired. I'm so tired of the children of the corn. They just be doing so much. And they're all in Confederacy. Just think they are all doing this stuff to control people. It's witchcraft. It's evil. It's demonic. So it says that uptick was driven largely by purchases in California in the urban areas where the majority of EV purchases are made. So here they say when they say urban, they mean city. Anyway, I'm not going to read any more of this. I just want to show you what's coming. So the bottom line is be prepared for rough living. Um, if you're gonna, if you're looking at buying something or like a home and trying to get out of the city, I recommend strongly getting out of the city because you won't have any independence. But even if you live in a rural area, you need to live in close proximity to people, to stores, and walking distance to stuff. Or if you're not going to do any of that, try to live in a place where you can be self-sufficient. You can grow your own vegetables. You can have, and I'm just say, just forget about trying to have some livestock because they're gonna make sure we don't have that. So try to have enough place where you can buy um, um, seeds, stock them up, and grow your own vegetables, and try to be a haven of rest for yourself and for your neighbors, and be able to exchange, barter, whatever, and be able to do stuff within walking distance because I don't think we're going to be able to have cars. I just don't think so. I don't think it's going to be affordable. Even with universal basic income, you're not going to be able to afford a car. The other thing is you need to probably invest in something like a wagon. I just say a wagon or a cart, something that you can carry with you that's comfortable when you walk because you're going to be doing a lot of walking. I just feel it. Again, that's why I left the city to come back to a rural area where I can walk to the store if I need to walk to the store. Um, my neighbors used to grow stuff. They don't grow anything now, but when um, everything happens, folks will be growing stuff. Um, and you just never know what the future will hold. So we gotta really be well, I take that back. We do know what the future holds because Yahuwah left the instruction manual, so we know what's coming. But what we have to do is plan and prepare. Folks who sitting around saying have faith, have faith, have faith, but not doing any work, they're crazy. Because even in the Bible, when it talks about the 7, good years and 7 bad years, when it came to the famine, people plan for the bad years. Things happen, in seasons. And so if you had 7 good years and you're going to have 7 bad years, when you know you're going to have 7 bad years, you plan. You don't just be like, oh, I'm going to have faith in the 7 bad years and hope for the best. Ain't nothing gonna grow. What you gonna hope for? Everybody around you gonna be looking for the same thing because nobody playing. Like, there has to be people. There will always be people who are aware and thinking and are forward thinking and proactive. And there are always going to be more people who don't listen and find out when it's too late that they should have listened. Think about Noah's ark. Noah and his family were on a boat for a year. He spent 120 years trying to teach people, tell people, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming. People didn't listen. Then when the rain started coming, it had never rained. People were like, oh, it ain't no big deal. And then it rained some more, and people like, I want to get on the boat. Well, no, the door is closed. You can't come in. It's too late. That is how this is going to be. It's going to be one of those things where they're like literally telling you what's coming. And we don't know whether we're going to be here or not. So we have to plan for if we're here and if we're not. It's called gaming. It's called being proactive. It is called risk management. It is called having spiritual discernment. It is called listening to your creator, because he's given us this insight now to allow us to plan. And some of this is going to be a test of whether you will listen to him. It's going to be a test to see if you have the fortitude to endure. And I firmly think that a lot of us are going to go through some stuff because we're going to have to trust in him. We're also going to have to help our brothers. And a lot of us are frustrated with our brothers and sisters. So we're going to have to trust. We're going to have to help render aid to the poor, to orphans, to our brothers and sisters. There's going to be a time for us to minister. When people are hungry and hurting and destitute, they will listen to you because they're going to be like, how you got stuff and I don't have nothing? Why were you so wise? What was I doing? It's a wonderful time to minister. When people are broken, people will listen. So I don't think that we just going to be taken out of here and folks are not going to have an opportunity to minister. We're not going to have an opportunity to experience some hardship ourselves. So position yourselves to be ready for anything that happens. I believe that they're going to do something to these cars intentionally because, it's just like with the computers and stuff, the way the cars are now. They did the same thing, decades ago. And I remember my dad always telling me, if you can, always have an old car. Don't rely on these later model cars because you got to have a computer to check and see what's wrong with them. You got to know the code. You got to take them to the dealership. It's going to be a lot of money. Like my dad was telling me this stuff in the 90s. And so he has not been wrong. Now, he has electric car. Not electric car, but he has a car with all the computers and stuff in it. But he also is a mechanic. So he has a shed. He knows how to work on his own stuff. He doesn't now because he's older, but he knows how to diagnose his stuff. He has the equipment and some stuff he can do on his own. But he also has older cars. He has a car that's old as me. So if he needs to do anything, if his car, truck doesn't work, he got something that he can still use to get around. Most people don't think like that. And it's going to be difficult I just keep thinking about that book, One Second After, where it talks about people's cars didn't work except for people who had old cars. People who had those old cars were driving around, and because so few cars were on the road, people were just like, what's, why he driving? And there were people trying to take the cars. They had guns that were walking up and down the road. People were running, begging for rides, trying to get from point A to point B, and you couldn't trust anybody because you didn't know whether the person was going to take you or not. And in the book, even women, like, they just left everybody because you can't help everybody. If you help one, folks just going to come. And so it's going to be crazy. It is really going to be crazy whenever they kick off this thing that they're planning. But we got to make sure that we are prepared, because as light bearers, we have to bring light to darkness. We have to inspire when there's darkness and people are broken and not well. We're going to have to do a lot of stuff for our brothers and sisters who did not heed the warnings. So to me, this is a warning um, of what's to come. And I think that they're going to do something so that these cars don't work intentionally, so that people will be forced to buy EVs. You're not going to buy them. You're going to lease them. You're going to rent the car, because they're not going to allow you to buy a car. Everything's going to be by subscription. You will own nothing and you will be happy. By the time they finish whooping up on our tails, you're going to be so happy to have a little EV. You don't have to walk. Make sure you got some good shoes, and make sure you get a lot of socks. Make sure you do stuff for foot care. Make sure you buy things to take care of your feet, because we may have to do a lot of walking. And that's something that people don't really think about. You need wintertime walking shoes. You need summertime walking shoes. You're going to need flip-flops. You're going to need some shoe glue. You're going to need a good needle and thread. We're going to need a lot of stuff. So these are the types of things that you really need to be thinking about. And if you have children, you need to be thinking, I need to have different size shoes for my children or my grandchildren, because when their feet grow, they're not going to have any shoes to wear. And we're going to be walking, possibly. So, or marching to Zion, one out the two. But either way, you're going to need you some good shoes. So make sure you invest in good shoes, good socks, good foot care stuff, wraps, salves and butters and creams. Take care of your feet. They'll take care of you. And then just make sure that if you have resources to buy something old, try to buy an older car, even if it's just a little hoop ride, something before 1985, I think that's what they say. In case there's an EMP strike, at least you and your family will be able to get around. Make sure you maintain it. Make sure you keep fuel and keep it fueled, and keep extra fuel in the event that we're not able to get access to fossil fuels. And then, just wait for the other shoe to drop. But try to live like a minimalist. We're going back to some times where people didn't have a whole lot. And so if you set your mind to that now, you prepare. This is the pre-wilderness before the wilderness. Think that way. You're preparing to be in the wilderness. You're preparing to live minimally with little or nothing at all, because they don't want you to have nothing. They don't want us here anyway. So if we're proactive and we can survive, hey, we doing good. All right, this is Marla K, y'all. Please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload new content. Follow me on Odyssey, Rumble, Instagram, and on Facebook. It's the internet is up, and they allow me to talk and use this without digital anything. I'll be here. If you'd like to support the channel, links are in the description for Odyssey. For my Coffee and Venmo pages. They're at the links are at the very bottom of the description. I appreciate any contributions, and if you've made a contribution recently, I greatly appreciate it. Y'all just don't know how difficult this work is. Everything is so slow right now, and so even though this work doesn't sustain us, we still must do it. And so anybody that contributes to the channel, I really do appreciate it. I don't have any sponsors. I don't sell y'all nothing. I just give y'all what y'all need and get the moving. So we're not doing that here. Lastly, keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High, keep crying out. Lord, please cry. Keep crying out, because I'm tired. I'm tired. We all tired. We need to be delivered from this. But this is just the beginning. So we cannot be weak. We can't get weak. We cannot faint. We got to make it past the sword and endure to the end. So we want to, just make sure we keep those law, statutes, and commandments. Keep the Sabbath. Learn. Read your word. Stay in your word. Repent daily for sins of commission and sins of omission. And just make sure that you are listening to the Creator. He's talking to us, but a lot of people are not listening. And he's showing us things, but a lot of people are not looking. Keep watch. Things are not going to happen quickly all the time. Sometimes it's a couple of years. Like this is a couple of years warning in advance so that you can prepare. I don't know how long we're going to be here. And we know we're going to go through some troubling times. We already know this. It says it in the word. We're going to have to flee. If we have to flee, that means we're here when the troubles come. So let us prepare. Let us be wise as serpents and prepare. The serpents are talking to us. So let us listen to them and prepare. Pray and ask for guidance and wisdom on what to do and where to go and move. Have faith that the Most High is going to deliver you and He is going to light a path so that you will know what you need to do and where you need to go. All right, y'all. This is Marla K. Love y'all, and I'm out.